Hello, I'm Brian Atkinson and welcome to UK Aircraft Explored. The aim of this video is to give you access to a selection of photographs I took back in 2004 and 5 for my Spitfire Mark V Explored PC software project. If you'd like to see a brief description for each photo, just turn on the subtitles. Whether you're planning your next Spitfire modelling project or just enjoy looking at close-up Spitfire photographs, enjoy. So let's begin our photo tour of 5 great Spitfire 5 cockpits. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you found it interesting, and please remember we have many more videos in production. Please click the free subscribe button below and also like to get notifications when future videos are posted. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.